Nuclear submarines do not necessarily mean nuclear weapon armed. It may mean the submarines themselves are nuclear powered, which is much less harmful because it means they can go, say, 20 years without having to refuel, without needing to surface, therefore. Very stealthy, right? But not as worrying as a submarine literally with nuclear weapons that it can launch into the air at targets. Now, Trump has deployed two of these American nuclear submarines to waters that put them within striking distance of the Russian homeland. Will it be war? No. Are these nuclear armed or nuclear powered submarines? Nobody knows, literally. Unless Trump does. Actually, Trump might not even know. I don't know. Trump didn't specify. That's the important thing. But if you want the full relevant news on this topic, stick around because that's what we're here for. And don't forget to like and comment and all that, letting me know where you're watching from. That really does motivate me and it helps with the algorithm. I'm not sure why I said algorithm like that. Now, the news without the Western spin. Let's get into it. Trump deployed these submarines in response to words from former Russian president and current member of the Security Council in Russia, Dmitry Medvedev. Trump said Medvedev said some incendiary things, very aggressive, right? To which Trump had to respond with apparently submarine deployment. Well, Medvedev, let's look at what Medvedev actually did. Did he say Russia's going to strike the American homeland? Russia's going to level Washington. The White House will be the charred black house. Did he go crazy? No. Russia, through Medvedev, warned Trump of Russia's feared dead hand mechanism, a mechanism first set up during the era of the Soviet Union, which Russia is a natural successor to. The mechanism is cloaked in mystery. This animation budget. This is the dead hand, okay? It's cloaked in mystery. The full workings of it are unknown to the public anywhere in the world, Russia included. But the basic premise is if Russia is targeted for a decapitation strike, right, its leadership is attacked, right? Meaning an attack aimed at taking out the leadership, let's say Vladimir Putin and his seniors of the administration, attempting to collapse basically the Russian state in its current form. That would be seen by Russia as existential of a threat, right? A threat to the existence of the current Russian administration, the existence of Russia itself, essentially, would be seen as under threat. Then Russia has things set up for the nukes to automatically be launched at designated targets. It's like a hand, you have a button, and Russia basically says, if you kill us, we go dead. Oh, and we press the button. Boom! The world blows up, right? Likely the nukes are aimed at the American homeland. And obviously, America thinks itself so important. It calls itself the world, right? The World Bank, the world order. So, yeah, let's say the world blows up. If America blows up, the world blows up, basically, right? Now, with strategic nukes set up in this dead hand mechanism, the threat from Dmitry Medvedev was don't mess with the Russian administration and take us out because then, we will have the dead hand, press the button, and congratulations, we've somehow achieved nuclear war. Very big failure on the part of humanity. The strategic nukes, by the way, not tactical nukes. Tactical nukes are nuclear weapons that have a smaller damage radius. Strategic nukes are the big boys. Those are the city wiping out, mushroom cloud birthing horrors of the Soviet and US Cold War era, right? A Cuban Missile Crisis, World War II, the ones that America dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the civilian populations of Hiroshima and Nagasaki back in World War II in Japan, the only time mankind has deployed strategic nukes against civilians, those kinds of weapons would be potentially unleashed. So back to the topic. Medvedev basically warned Trump, if you try to decapitate the Russian administration, we have things set up to start a nuclear war. Somehow, Trump took that reminder of Russia's existential threat countering capabilities, using its most feared defense mechanism as aggression, as belligerent rhetoric by the Russian Federation, and he deployed submarines in response. It all goes back. This is where I end this. It all goes back to the world order we have lived through for the last 30 years. The unipolar world order where America is the undisputed world hegemon, the dominator. Rhetoric from America and its allies can be brazen, violent, harsh, maniacal. Look at the kind of talk Israel, for example, talks, the kind of walk it walks in Gaza. It's not a problem, no problem. There's no issue. Where's the issue, right? But a country like Iran, or Russia or North Korea or China, any country really not in America's sphere of influence, if they, talk even a fraction of what America would say, if they just say we are capable at defending ourselves, the response is much harsher. It's much more readily considered aggressive, unjustified, illegal. Pick your descriptor, right? Ask Keir Starmer. He's got loads. He calls the Russian war, for example, on Ukraine illegal, unjustified, unprovoked. All three of those are up for grabs, really, up for debate. Now, as we continue to see, the world is shifting for better or worse. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But we're shifting from American-led unipolarity, i.e. a single pole, unipole, to China and the US leading a bipolar world, bi as in two different poles, two different centers of gravity, centers of power. Potentially more poles would emerge over time, like a unified Europe would be a pole. That would be truly multipolar. The Indian subcontinent might boost itself up to the levels where it becomes another pole in terms of population and historical norms. India has been a pole for the world, and by India I mean the subcontinent. So Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan. Anyway, for the citizens of the world, for the citizens of the world, the submarine deployment isn't particularly important. It's going to lead to absolutely nothing, by my assessment, in terms of kinetic war, which is why I won't share any more details on it here, but I gave you the geostrategic, geopolitical background and framing. It's a move by Trump, but only for posturing, only for show, only to, be like, oh, look how tough we are, mate. Calm down, okay? Because the last thing America wants is war with Russia. So they're not going to go really far. They're so unwilling, actually. They're pulling out of proxy war with Russia through Ukraine. They're even pulling out of that. And they're only coming back in to say, we will provide the weapons, but Europe will pay for it. And Europe is happy with that because, as I said in previous videos, Europe is happy to use Ukraine as a speed bump, keep funneling money and arms into Ukraine to support keeping Russia occupied while the military industrial complexes in Germany and France and the UK are rebuilt to be able to oppose Russia in the future, because all this time they were under America's umbrella, and so they let their militaries and their military capabilities atrophy. And now America's pulling out of Europe. They need to sort of stand on their own two legs, so they need the time. So they've chucked Ukraine as a sort of bone to the Russian bear. Like have that while we distract you with that while we set up. Anyway, America has its hands full, basically, is what I'm trying to say, because America wants to pull out of Europe, America wants to pull out of the Middle East, America wants to hard pivot to the Pacific theater to rival China. And also, at the moment, right now, America's too busy punching its own allies in the face, kneeing them in the groin with reciprocal tariffs, right? To be occupied in a fresh conflict with Russia. And Russia is treading carefully. Russia is speaking diplomatically. As part of BRICS and the global south, Russia benefits from peace more than America does. Russia benefits from time more than America does, because with time, the global south is rising, the economic reliance on the West is lessening. So Russia could prosper economically with its ties to China and the global south, even if they are sanctioned by the Western bloc. And there's actually options for Russia to work with Western Europe. At the moment, that's not so likely because of the conflict in Ukraine and because the administrations in Europe have convinced themselves and to some extent their populations, especially in the UK, for example, that Russia is the enemy. Well, Russia's not really the enemy, but okay, sure. Well, that's another video. But Russia's already committed to Ukraine. Russia's not interested in fighting America. And America is too busy worrying about China outpacing it basically in every single industry possible. So including military, so America's not interested in war with Russia. So that's the end of it. You've got the analysis. There's no dramatics here. I'm not going to be like Sky News and keep egging it on and be like, oh, war's coming. War's not coming. Okay? I'm just going to tell you. It's going to lead to me getting less views, but that's what you guys are here for. You guys are here for the blunt, analytical assessment. In 10 minutes, I've given you the A to Z, the Alif Bata Tha to, what's the Arabic alphabet ending? Yeah. The Koko, Gogo, Umo, that's Bengali, by the way. I've given you the full thing in less than 10 minutes, even with a lot of rambling, sort of salt-based spiced in. So you don't have to sit down and watch Al Jazeera, Sky, BBC, CNN, CSS, Miami. You don't have to spend hours basically watching mainstream media or legacy media, as I call it, for the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin. I'm Mahfouz, and I'll see you on the next one. Boop.